Hello, everyone. This is Jim Okerzinski with your weekly screencast video. So here we are in week 15, coming to the end of the course. We'll spend this week, revising your research essay first draft. Peer review should be wrapping up sometime tonight. I'm recording this on Sunday evening, as I usually do. And next week, we will just have one discussion board on the agenda before the first draft. I should say the first draft, the final draft, is due next week. And then I think we have a simple discussion board post, and it's going to be pretty much a wrap for this semester. So if you're one of those students that is struggling to catch up, I hope that you are busy working on any past due assignments. I will put out an announcement in a couple of days, just advising everyone of the dates that some of the assignments will be closing up. I will no longer accept submissions. I'll put together a bit of a schedule so how, at least everybody will be aware of when some of these particular assignments and discussion boards are going to be going away. I'm not going to leave it all open until the end of the semester. So be aware of that. So in chapter 5, as I say here, there's many good sections. In chapter 5, it's all about revising your draft. There's many good activities there. I usually in an in-person class years ago, I used to do a whole bunch of these activities, all the different exercises that helped students prepare for a final manuscript. I've got some sections and page numbers here that might be worth your time in reading. In fact, I think all of them will be worth your time in reading and what you might want to consider doing to your particular first draft. But one that is really interesting that I like to use in all my classes out of chapter 5, even when time is limited, is exercise 5.1. So let me get over to the discussion board this week. Content. Here we go. Drafting and revising. Exercise 5.1 in the textbook, and I ask you to read through it. And it's a pretty straightforward activity. Complete steps 1 to 4 as described. You can use the highlight function in your document to mark the parts of your draft. Basically, what this activity does is it asks you to highlight in the middle of your paper about, I'd say, do a couple of pages or more than that. Highlight the words of others, quotes and paraphrases, and then your writing and your discussion in a different color. And if you do about 3 pages or so, you'll begin to see a pattern emerge between your words and others. If one color dominates, you might need to add a little bit more commentary. If the other color dominates, then you might have to add some source information to support your particular research essay. So take a look around, look how your patterns develop. I'm asking everyone to review the results and discuss those in this particular post. Should attach your document with some of the colors that you've determined are the pattern in your particular draft. All right, we're still revising that particular draft. So for those of you who use Google Docs, make a copy of your first draft, highlight it, and use that for this activity. It's always a good way to do that. It's not terribly difficult, but yeah, it's interesting to see how the patterns work. In fact, I've got 3 in-person classes at COD on 1102, and this is our Monday activity because they're in the first draft phase just like yourself. So we're doing that on Monday. That being said, let me get out of this particular activity here. Okay, 5.1 is this week's, I think the activity wrap. Sunday is the responses. Be aware of the criteria for the first draft. Let me see if I can find that. Let's see right here. Here we go. I'll move these around in a minute. Instructions here. Okay, be aware of the first draft criteria. All right, some of the discussion board posts, I put out 2 messages. The drafts were missing from the upload there on the peer review discussion board. I looked quickly at some of the drafts. Some of them look to be lacking in some of the criteria here. Remember, your particular first draft is the first draft. You're not revising for more points on the first draft. First draft is there to revise for the final draft, which is significant. Actually, it is a really significant part of your grade. All right, so if you have any questions or issues about the last few weeks of the semester, I suggest you send me an email if there's any questions about first drafts or assignments or where we're going, or what this all might mean for you. I think taking the time and sending off an email with your concerns might be worthwhile. All right, that being said, good luck. Send me an email if you have any questions.